warm welcome to Helen.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. It's such a joy to be here. I have one important question. Does anyone here speak Scottish, or do I need a translator? Okay, as I get going and get more passionate, I get more Scottish. So my answer might change. So I also go into light language quite a bit, and that's just part of how the transmission comes. So this is a transmission. You guys have been listening to so many incredible speakers, and I feel so honored to be here at this moment. I'm not going to be teaching you. I'm not here as an expert. I'm here as an ally and an explorer that is, like you, a leader, a spiritual warrior, and a brave heart. So ever since I moved to Scotland, I moved to Mount Shasta in 2018, I think every American that I have ever met has said, I want to go to Scotland. And I've got curious about our connection. You know the famous or infamous scene in Braveheart where Mel Gibson says, they may take our lives, but they will never take our freedom. This is something that we share. The Celtic peoples and the Texan peoples. Our lands are wired for freedom. We share courage, we share hearts, we share grit. And every single person in this room, every single one of us here right now is a leader. Whatever your life looks like, it's not being up on stage, it's the mothers and the fathers and the children and the workers and every single one of us, because you are at a certain level of consciousness and you are brave and you are here. And I'm here to speak to a new way of leading, a new way of living. That this is what this whole event's been about. And to step into this and to step into this field, my soul is just singing. My passion is bridging realms. It's bridging the full multidimensionality of what we are, not in a disembodied way, not as another spiritual fairy tale, but as blood and guts human beings on the land with the earth, that in no way diminishes anything of our infinite selves. So this is a call to heart leaders that are true spiritual warriors, which is every one of us. Love is our earth. Wisdom is our footprint, and courage is our blood. It takes courage to stand in what we know to be true. It takes humility to not identify or attach to it, and it takes wisdom to know when to take a stand. And you know what? It's now. It's now. So, the same principles apply to living and leading. Core foundations that are a spiral, they're not linear. Okay, and as an evolutionary leader, as a brave heart, these principles speak to all of us. They're spiral, and the first two in particular can come in either order. So, opening the heart sounds a bit like a Hallmark card and butterflies and fairies and roses. Has that been everybody's experience in the room? Not quite. It takes everything. It is a surrender that is death. It's a death to everything that we thought is true. The path of the heart is the feminine path, and it lies in this core of awakening that we are in as a collective that is about the unification of what we call the feminine and masculine together, living as love, leading as embodied love in this new paradigm. And the heart that I'm pointing to is the true heart. It's not only in the emotional realms, it is I mean, again, all these words are just pointers. It's the eternal heart. And the eternal heart is invincible. It cannot be broken. It is undefended. It is boundless. It is open without limit. Awakening consciousness. All of these are just literally gateways, pointers that I'm not going to go into today. Again, this is a process, however we engage in it, that calls for everything. I've coined a phrase, embodied awakening, which is awakening to the infinite nature of all that we are, the completely indescribable, indefinable, all that is, here, through this body, as this body. So not the historic, transcendent, up and out patriarchal paths of a lot of religions and a lot of schools of spirituality. It's a path of the mother in union with the Father through the Holy Child of life itself. It embraces all realms of consciousness, but is in no way removed from the body, the earth, or any aspect of what it is to be a human. Embodiment is a buzzword, a bit like somatics and trauma, and that's not to denigrate any of it. But what I want to suggest today is, what if life, as one of our other speakers said, what if life itself is embodiment? We never stop the process of embodying infinite consciousness until that last breath. There is no end point. There is no end point. That's the good news. Okay, we stop trying and we let go and we open our hand. And as leaders, this too is the truth. We don't stand in some historic sense of self or value. We stand vulnerable in the process alongside each other. So the call to stand is now, given that embodiment and awakening has no end. And living courageously, at the core of our brave heart is our whole-souled, wholehearted yes. It is risk-taking, because if we're not uncomfortable, we're not actually evolving. And that doesn't mean that we buy into stories of struggling or martyrdom or suffering or any of these kind of legacies. But the reality is that we are brave and we are vulnerable. Perhaps the greatest risk of all is to express something so profound that we will never be able to go back to our old life. The risk to embrace our godlike nature, our divinity, right here in our human form, with our personality, characteristics, all of our fallibility, and to stand in this divinity in front of each other as witnesses and as a calling home. At the heart of my journey from the beginning has been this theme of coming home, not least because, like many of us, I hold the remembrance so deeply and the resistance was so huge to being here. I've been working with it consciously for 15 years. I'm going to say more about homecoming in a moment. To the point of courage, courage is not the absence of fear. Fearlessness is not necessarily the absence of fear. What changes is our relationship to awareness itself as we explore who is actually experiencing this phenomenon. And awakening occurs when trust, somebody trusting a something that seems to be external, gradually dissolves and merges more and more and become one and the same. So let's just take a breath together. I'm going to be moving into more of a direct meditation and activation just towards the end of the sharing, but I invite you to just play in it already. So as we expand into a vaster context, it's an important part of what I want to say. My soul has recognized its cosmic nature for a long, long time and been very puzzled at how that could actually be here on this planet. And I'm sure some of you recognize that in your own selves. There is a movement, there is an awakening of the cosmic self that is happening. Some of us may have touched this or known this for a long time. There is undoubtedly, and I say this not as a certainty, just as a perspective to try on, there is an exponential increase in the awakening to the cosmic self. And this is fundamentally tied into not only the rise of the divine feminine that many of us have been talking about for a long time, but the integration. And specifically here, I'm talking about what I call the cosmic divine feminine, which I'm not going to define at the moment. When we shift to the largest possible context for our actions, and we all have our own bandwidth, right? We all have our own radar, so it doesn't mean that you go out of your lane. It's wherever you are in your journey, right? There's this, what I'm experiencing is a greater range for many of us and a greater flexibility, that we don't hang out in one range of frequency or get lost in a spiritual paradigm, but we also not getting lost in being only a human that is disconnected from infinity. So we play in our own bandwidth. We choose the largest possible context for how we can show up in all of our actions. And I think it was Cole spoke earlier about the intentionality of every situation, however trivial. We profoundly change the resonance field, and we profoundly change what is actually possible. So what I'm calling brave-hearted evolutionary leadership spans all realms and all areas of life. There is so much that could be said about this, but essentially, this new paradigm is so revolutionary. It is asking us to question all of our core values in which our systems and our structures and our lives are built. This isn't just about spirituality. This isn't a disconnected spiritual fantasy. This is facing our personal and collective shadow and being willing to really not only dream new ways of being, but actually get together and create them. The rise of the divine feminine is not in response, and it's not an imbalanced reaction to millennia of patriarchy. It is a time of true union within and without that is possible. And I'm not for a second saying that it exists in the general reality, whatever that is, but it is possible now. And it means we're exploring the domains of what traditionally we would call the feminine, such as the interior, the family, the intuitive, the sexual, the creative, the relational, as much as the external, the economic, the political. It's multi-dimensional and spans all aspects of what it is to live as an awakened human. So evolutionary, brave-hearted leadership is not being an expert. It is summoning your courage, your wisdom, your unique life experience, your humility, your open-handedness, and your open-heartedness, and bringing it to every interaction and every situation. Mastery is perhaps learning how to continuously weave between realms and to bring this to everything. And I love how this space has been curated. As you spoke to Shannon, it's so palpable, and it's a model. It's a model. We're talking about embodied sovereignty and inner authority, frequency authority, Every single one of us is a unique frequency of source, right? That's why we exist, otherwise we wouldn't exist. We are not meant to be like anyone else. And we are one, we are source. And I've experienced this palpably in my travels in Britain just recently, of a field of coherent oneness, yet the uniqueness of each soul song, like a symphony. And it's just extraordinary. It's experiential, not conceptual. So I just want to briefly point to what I'm calling the origin field, and I'm going to take us into this just shortly. This isn't a place that anyone can go to with the mind, okay? Again, when we're talking about context, this is a field for our unique soul authenticity and our coherent oneness. It's ancient, future, timeless, right? And it's the source field of our evolutionary heart being, of creating our new paradigms. Its core features, if you like, although it doesn't have features per se, is our innocence and purity. When we source our leadership, our courage from this field, it is paradigm changing. The fuel, the wisdom, the intelligence, the support, all arises from the field, and we become expressions of this field. Okay, so last slide, and then we're going to switch gears. So you can hear the paradoxes that are, apparent paradoxes that are inherent of where we are progressing to in our journey of consciousness. This eclipse is like, well, it's a game on, right? And this year is game on. Evolution is ancient, future, seeded in timelessness, and discovered through now. Now, now, now. There is no other moment than now. Your courage is seen. Life sees every one of us in every moment and how we show up. Your hearts are known. Even if you think another human never sees what you are seen and you are known. Homecoming is not to a past, but to a totality of what we can be, and the immensity and the beauty and the joy of what is possible through human life. So we can welcome this time of transformation as we create a better future. We stay true, we stay listening, and we stay brave. So, my name is Helen Quayle, and I work with individuals and groups that are here, like each of us, for this great shift. I want to lead us now just into a short transmission. Okay, I know it's been a long day, and I'm really honored for your presence and energy. You can lie on the floor. Please, please, please. I always express, be in your sovereignty with what your body needs, with what your system needs. If you need to move, if you need to breathe, if you need to sound, don't be rigid, don't be constrained. Okay, all right, beautiful. And every transmission, every meditation that I'm involved in arises from this field, from this moment. It can't, for me, it can't be any other. It's about the cutting edge of what's possible that doesn't in any way leave anything behind, okay? We are all absolutely essential and unique pinpoints of frequency. We're coming together in this frequency field in this moment on these lands. Vitushi makiara makuki chia cha. Ne marata haya maku cha anta hai ituta. If you haven't already, just let your eyes close, let your inner gaze really turn in and drop. And let's take a breath together. Okay, just stay with yourself. We are one field. We are the earth. Okay, we are the earth. We are Mama Gaia. And Solaris, the sun of the solar system, Father Sun, Yacha, and the Mahai, Kuchit, and Tae, and Tirabahai, Kuche. Okay. Let your breath be free. Breath is an anchoring through multiple layers of frequency. The invitation is always to stay in body. We can explore all the realms when we leave. Okay? And as one of the other speakers was saying, we're bringing home what is available, and there's more available now than ever has been before. Deep breath. Attune to the unique frequency of your essence in whatever way that is for you. Felt, sensed. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, and then we're going to connect to the heart field of this group, which includes every being, physical and non-physical, in the room, outside of the space, that's connected into this space, that's part of the source team, a pure, undifferentiated holy light holding this space, the heart field. And you can let this heart field expand as much as you desire to encompass all of us, everything. Okay. And then I always hold the intention that we include all the dimensions that are available. Okay, deep breath. Okay, keep your body free, don't tense up. Okay. And if it resonates with you and it feels available, I'm going to open what I'm calling the origin field. Don't try and go there with the mind. Don't try and think what it is. Just, it's opening. It's just an opening. It's just an invitation. Consciousness so often is an invitation. Evolution has its own inherent intelligence. There's no push, there's no urgency. It has its own momentum. So the origin field. Okay, we can actually bring an anchor point of this through this group field in this moment, through these incredible lands, and through all the support that's available through this eclipse window. Again, just trust what's available to you. Don't overlay, don't take anything that's coming from these words that doesn't resonate. Just be open to the invitations. Okay, we can expand a bit more, some of us. And it's a bit like trying on a new body or a new set of clothes. We can kind of, oh, hello. Just explore. Okay, we're going to really root into the telluric realms, the crystalline realms of Gaia, the stones. The rock beings have really come forward through this eclipse as steadfast allies. Okay, the limestone, the waters. Okay, Our DNA is in communion. Human DNA and the DNA of this planet that gives these bodies life. As expanding consciousness, we are one and the same, partnering with Gaia. And the origin field is available through this planet now. And this planet, as many of you may know, is also a microcosm of cosmic evolution. So there are multitudes of galactic beings partnering and celebrating and cheering us on in this wild adventure. Okay, let's take a couple of breaths. Bring your consciousness fully into your body, okay, into this human body. And these days it's a continual rebirth, it's a continual meeting as we go through a cellular change, structural change. Okay, bringing your consciousness in. And again, just welcoming in the support of these fields, of these lands, of these beloveds. If you feel called to place your hands on your heart, this infinite, precious portal to all that is, and maybe a hand in the belly, balancing, grounding all the aspects of ourselves that are available. Blessed be each one of us, blessed be this holy space. May we remember, and when we forget, may we remember again and come home to the truth of what we are becoming, and what always is. Thank you so, so much for your hearts, your courage, your presence, your listening. Thank you so much. Take good care of yourself as you integrate, and just be in your own process with very much love. Thank you.